This here is a video in a series of videos. Why should I keep living? This here is a video in a series of videos. Why should I keep living? Life is lost its flavor. Why should I not spit it out? You see this house right here? You see that purple plum tree in the backyard? I planted that tree when I was a kid. And my next door neighbors helped me. And so did my mom, my dad. Now the tree has been cut down. Now, we'll get to that. You see this, growing up in this house, from when I was 9 months old to 22 and a half years old, made me into the person I am today. I became the person I was today while growing up in that house. That was not my childhood home. There are all the memories of my childhood. From my Christian experience, to my grandparents, to my vacations in the Gatlinburg, to my job at Pizza Hut, to my trails in the woods, down the road from there, to growing up as a little kid. All the most wonderful memories of being a little kid are attached to this house. And as long as this house was here, and these trees were here, all these trees, I could go back to this house and feel a connection to my memories, a connection to the past. Like a tree has a connection to its roots. I got Asperger's, so I'm not like the rest of y'all. The rest of y'all can give up the past and not mean a thing to you. I can't, and I won't. When I moved out of this house in 1995, I was so glad when my Aunt Dee and Uncle Roger moved in. Kept it in the family. They kept these trees. They planted even more trees. The ditch, I remember the ditch in the backyard. Oh my goodness, I used to call that place Flowerland. As a kid, I used to throw my toys in that ditch. I used to run up and down in that ditch as a preteen and as a kid. Well, because I had some shitty neighbors who were vandalizing the stuff, they had to move out. And Roger couldn't work anymore. He had a bloody nose attack. They had to move in an old folks' home. My hope was one day they had to move out in 2009, March of 2009. I was writing songs, trying to get a record deal, trying to write that hit song so I could get enough money so I could buy this house and go back here and live one day. I had all the things my mom and dad could not get me to throw out. All my possessions I had while living at this house. Old notebooks, old pictures. I fought every step of the way. That's it. They're memories. They're in the head. You don't need them. Yes, I do. Yes, I need a physical manifestation of my memories to feel a connection. And my desk that my grandma gave me when I was, 4 or 5 years old. So I bought a storage bin and dumped all my possessions in that storage bin. My hope was to one day come back to this house, making enough money to come back and buy this house as it was, and move all my stuff, have a glorious day moving all my stuff back in here. Being that spiritual connection. Once again, connected to my roots. I live my remaining days in this house, feeling so complete inside, so fulfilled, so satisfied. But this was not to happen. Milton Fields cut down that purple plum tree I planted. He cut down that holly bush. I was 2 or 3 years old when my dad and his best friend, Doug Jones, planted that tree. Now it's gone. They cut the maple tree down. They filled in the ditch. The ditch is no longer there. They cut down those bushes. They made the house look like all the other houses. So basically, this dream is dead. Not even God himself can give me back this house like it was. Well, I take that. He could. But will he? The chances of him giving me this house back as it was are just as slim as God raising up Ronald Reagan from the dead to be our next president. God too good to do it, but there are some things that God does not do because it requires too much of his intervention. And since this world belongs to Satan, he does not act in such ways because of sin, and he will not act in such ways until he comes back to claim the world by his blood. God can do anything. But I did not expect God to give me back this house with the way it was. He'd have to do a miracle to bring back the trees. And he doesn't do things like that those days. So, I feel like a tree that's been ripped from the ground, ripped from the fruits, and planted in a leather, lest a tree ripped from the ground, from fruits out of the forest, and planted in a square of ground on a busy city sidewalk with great buildings, and expected to grow and be happy. Not going to happen. Even as the tree dies, I want to die. If I knew I'd go to heaven, and Jesus would fucking take me back, I kind of would want to die. I got Asperger's. I developed emotional attachment with inanimate objects and ideas that normal people only develop with all of human beings. The death of this house, the death of those trees, was like the death of my mom. And life today, this world today, is a dry, barren world, lifeless world, colorless world, depressing world.
Jesus.
People in this world are a bunch of pieces of shit. Nobody loves anymore. Everybody's jaded. Everybody only cares about having sex. And people are lifeless. And quite frankly, I kind of want to die. And Jesus doesn't love me anymore. And I'm disappointed in Jesus. And so many things I'm thinking Jesus, and I'm waiting for answers. If he'll give them to me. I'm even doubting if Jesus is real. I hope it's because he's withdrawn his spirit, not only temporarily, but I don't know. I just don't fucking know. Seriously, I want to kill myself sometimes. I just don't got the fucking guts to do it.
Okay, part 2 of the damn video.
And there's some more things I forgot to mention. About the impossibility of giving back what I lost. In 2017, my mom, my dad, my cousin Casey, in order to help me save money without me knowing it, went to the storage bin where I had all the memories from this house stored. I was paying $50 a month. Mom kept getting on my case. Chris, you don't need to spend that money. Why don't you just give it up? I can't say no. And they went and trashed some of my most precious memories. Fortunately, I still got the disc from my grandma, but they threw away the Risk game that I got for Christmas in 1987. I had so many memories attached to that Risk game. So many memories, so many. Playing it with my Uncle Mark on the creek, on the river, on the creek bank while camping. Playing games with my cousin Paul when he'd come to spend the night. I had so many memories attached to that risk game. They don't make risk games like they did back then. So even if I buy a new risk game, it's not going to be the same. Normal risk games have 6 different colors. I had 9 different colors. So, I know God's not going to give me back this. God's not going to do a miracle and bring me back that risk game as it was. God's not going to bring back that plum tree.
Let me tell you something else. I remember in 2016, riding my bike past this house, looking in the backyard, and seeing plum tree sprouting up all over the backyard. I thought to myself, hey, the people who mowed this yard are waiting to sell this house are going to see this and realize that these sprouts are coming from that plum tree, and they're going to cut the plum tree down. So I went to the end of the road to my friend's house and borrowed his lawnmower, paid for gas, came to this house, mowed the entire lawn, mowed down the sprouts so that just to keep the purple plum tree from being cut down. It got cut down anyways. I remember there's a cat house that my grandpa George had made for our cat Mr. White, just above the air conditioner. Now both the air conditioner and the cat house are gone. I remember as a kid watching the rain fall from the roof and puddle into two depressive pools on the side of the house. Now they put those fucking gutters on the house so the rain doesn't drip from the roof, and they filled in that depression. I remember seeing green grass that looked like cabbage growing into those depressions and mentioning it to my mom. Hey, Mom, is this a garden? I was 4 years old. She's like, no. Thinking it was a garden because it looked like a cabbage that was growing in my next door neighbor, Miss Wiggins' garden.
God, before I can get this house back, God will raise Ronald Reagan from the dead and make him my next president. That will happen before I get this house back. And now, since God's not answering my prayers, since he's turned his back on me because I renounced him, I know he's not going to do this for me. Unless that sermon, Jonathan Edwards, God sometimes gives the best things to those he hates. Unless God gives it to me because he hates me, and he wants me to live it up down here so he can make my damnation that much worse where I die. I was just, but, yep, let's show you some more memories. Why I want to say that, maybe why I want to say will come back to me. Here's the Last Supper at this house. March of 2009. Look how unhappy I look.
2009.
Yep. So many memories. I remember my mom, my dad, my Uncle Tommy.
Jesus Christ, can't put this back.
And I forget who playing cards in that kitchen. I remember Mom and Dad and their college friends playing 8-track players. I was in bed trying to sleep.
I remember my cousin Caroline babysitting me in this house. Me and my brother.
I remember playing Street Fighter 2 with my cousin Casey in that living room. I remember me, my cousin Paul, and my dad out there on Friday nights watching World and Friday the 13th series with, of cursed objects. I remember playing Atari back when I was in 4th grade. Atari Pac-Man. And I remember Grandpa buying ice cream. Sometimes I would get so mad at the game, and Grandpa would get on my case. Say, "You don't mean."
That girl's got long arms.
Yep. I can't just up and give up this. I remember my dad and Uncle Mark planted that tree that they're climbing in. I was 8 years old, and they came home with this tree, and they planted it in the backyard. That's right beside the purple plum tree that I planted.
You can't touch my head. You can't touch my head. Yeah. Hey, y'all sing that. I want to hear that. You can't touch my head.
I wish I had gotten a better picture of that plum tree. There it is. There's the purple plum tree.
When y'all come down, I'm going to touch your heads.
Since it's March, the leaves and flowers haven't grown on it. The sun always shone bright in this house. I remember mowing that lawn. Oh, the memories that come back. Oh, if only I could have Jesus back. I remember the next door neighbors, the Smalls. It was Wiggins, the other next door neighbor that watched as I planted that plum tree.
Thank you.
Now it's all gone. Oh man, that girl's got long arms. Let me show you her. That girl's got long arms, but enough of that. Yep, that about covers it right there. Here's another video.
You see this house coming up? You see this house? I grew up in this house. I'd be willing to kill if I had to live here again.
If you go back there now, it does not look like it used to do. Wow, this girl's got some long arms.
Sure.
Now, since I had that at one time in my life, I'd be willing to give all that up, have longer forearms than these girls right here that presently have long forearms that I got today. This is Kylie Minogue. I bet you her forearm is, if my forearm is not longer than hers. No, I'd give all that, I'd be willing, since my forearms are short. When I was living in 1410 Farming Road, I had short forearms. I didn't know it back then because I didn't measure arms. But right now, I wish I had Jesus back. I would. Without Jesus, even if I had all these things I want, it's meaningless. I'm unfulfilled. But if I had Jesus, which I did one time, and didn't have a single one of these dreams, I still was lacking. I was complete. Jesus was enough. Jesus was all I needed. But I still wanted this. And God just did not love me enough to let me have one of my dreams.
Evidently, God didn't get a damn shit about my Asperger's. That's just God for you.
As far as I can tell.
He didn't love me enough.
As much as this is Sarah, she's 5'10". This is Sarah Connor. She sings "Bounce" by Sarah Connor. I would get if I had a choice. I could either get all my 14 miracle back, 1410 Farming Road, all that I lost, and have to have the short arms that I do now. Or I could have longer forearms and arms than this girl right here. It'd be a hard choice, but I choose to have longer forearms than this girl. Why? Because once upon a time I had the White House at 1410 Farming Road.
I have a fetish for having longer arms than hot girls with long arms. Hot girls with long arms are a huge turn on, but what finishes the climax is my elbows to wrists are longer than theirs. Oh, sweet climax, sweet ecstasy. And for this girl to think and for me to be good looking to all the girls like this and better, I gotta include that too.
With the trail, once upon a time it was a complete package. But I never in all my life have had long forearms than this girl. I want to have the longer forearms than this girl. Why couldn't I have had both it and the longer forearms? Now I know why some people want to kill themselves.
It's a rotten world.
Hope deferred maketh the heart sick. I'm not sick in the head. I'm heart sick. Sick. Hope deferred maketh the heart sick. I'm not sick in the head. I'm heart sick. Sometimes the gift of life God gives to us is a gift that we don't want, so we give it back to Him. Sometimes it had been better for some of us had God never let us be born, especially if we're gonna go to hell forever. Get a shitty life down here and still end up dying and going to hell, because God didn't love us enough. God didn't love us like He did King David. Gave him the world and spiritual blessings and Himself. Fuck you, God.
It's a rotten life. It's a rotten world. It's a rotten eternity. Oh, praise God. He is if it wasn't for God, I would not have had such a rotten life, a rotten eternity, and this would not be such a rotten reality. Praise God. Yeah, I take full responsibility for my sinning, renouncing Him. That was my fault. But it's God's fault that He did not love me enough like He loved Peter to endure with me to the end. Until I finally came around and let Him do what He wanted to do in my life. I blame God's love or lack thereof. And God's mind-blowing patience ain't shit to me because He didn't endure with me to the end. His patience right now, I don't give a shit how mind-blowing His patience is. It didn't last long enough to keep me from being damned. So fuck you, God.
Fuck you for not loving me like you did King David. Fuck you. Fuck you, God, for giving up on me. For letting me commit the unpardonable sin. Fuck you. You piece of shit.